This video tells the story of the small-scale farmer who raises animals for local customers, who are usually neighbors and friends. In the following unrehearsed footage, both farmers and their customers tell their story. They speak of a rural lifestyle that contributes to the local economy and produces safe, healthy, tasty meat grown in a sustainable and humane way for an ever-increasing customer base that is demanding the right of choice. We believe that the vital roles played by small-scale farming also include community food self-reliance and resiliency. This video has been made because we are concerned that small-scale farming is under threat from regulation. In 2007, the Provincial Meat Inspection Regulation came into force in British Columbia, and many resources were focused on getting meat processors licensed. The idea behind this regulation has been that all meat produced and slaughtered in this province should be inspected prior to sale. Recently, the Ministry of Healthy Living and Sport made changes to the regulation to allow two new classes of licenses, D and E. Small-scale farmers in the North Okanagan may be eligible for a Class E license that would allow uninspected, on-farm slaughter for farm gate sales to a maximum of 10,000 pounds live weight. The ministry is considering that only small-scale farmers with particular circumstances will be awarded an E license. We are concerned that the criteria for determining who will be awarded a Class E license will be too restrictive. Ideally, any small-scale farmer producing within the allowable limits who can demonstrate that they will slaughter in a humane and safe manner should be allowed a Class E license, so they can legally slaughter on-farm and sell at farm gate. With a Class E license, small-scale farmers will not be forced to use a Class A or B facility for slaughter, and therefore will not have lost the choice for low-stress on-farm slaughter, and will not face significant increases to the cost of production. This unique, small-scale meat production in British Columbia is a hugely valuable asset to every community. We hope that the Class E licenses will be implemented in a way that will respect the needs of small-scale farmers and their customers, thus assuring protection of this valuable resource.
This place is not particularly good soil, not a particularly productive farm, but it's a good place for sheep. So when we moved here, I had a decent client base for purebred sheep customers in the U.S. And I found a small abattoir in Salmon Arm that I was able to do business with. Basically, he was a meat market, and he had a little abattoir in the back. And it worked out perfectly for that level of the business. It was a very compatible arrangement. When the BSE thing happened, I mean, the first thing that happened to me was the Americans slammed the gate shut at the border. That was the end of my purebred sales business. And then after that, sometime after that, I forget exactly how long after that, the meat market said, well, he's been told that he has to upgrade his facility to a certain standard, and he just simply wasn't going to do it. He wasn't going to spend $100,000 to start putting stainless steel walls in his business and this sort of stuff. And it wasn't as if there was a problem with the quality of his work or disease or anything like that. I mean, I remember going in there and saying, you know, is your facility inspected? He says, you want your meat inspected, I'll call the inspector anytime you like. But the practice was the inspector just didn't show up unless he was sought. So I didn't worry about it, he didn't worry about it, and everything was going fine. The customers were all happy. There was never a problem. When he was told to upgrade his facility, he said to hell with it, and he put his facility up for sale, and within a couple of years he was out of business. And I was without a meat market. But contrasting that with today, when I still have a few sheep and I still sell a few meat lambs, whereas back then I was paying $55 for kill, cut, and wrap. I'm now paying $87 for the same critter. And when you look at a 50-pound box lamb, that's a substantial percentage of the value of that piece of meat. You know, that reduces the kind of person I'm able to sell lamb to. You know, basically, you know, my lamb clientele now are people who can afford to pay any price for meat. And you know, I personally don't like to do business just with people who can afford to pay any price for meat. I want to be able to sell to my neighbors. I want to be able to sell to people who want lamb and who enjoy the taste of a good farm-grown meat.
I homestead this farm. I have my dairy goats. I have my meat chickens. I have my egg chickens. And everybody lives jointly together, and we just love it. And everybody can't believe how friendly all my animals are when they come to this farm. Now, I raise my meat humanely. I figure that all of us have only so many days on this planet, and I make sure that my animals have the best care and love that they can have from the time they arrive to the time they leave. I love them to death, I spoil them to death, and then once they're gone, they spoil me by giving me extremely good meat. And anybody that has bought pigs off of me, live piglets off of me, or have bought the live adult pigs off of me, or my chickens, my turkeys, my sheep, anything, they say that it's the best meat that they've ever had. I don't have the capacity to purchase or have the desire to purchase a livestock trailer, or and then have to carry them to a beef facility, because I have to go the other side of Salmon Arm to do that. It also stresses the animals out too much. They get extremely agitated. These big processors, they have informed me that they can't guarantee giving me my meat back. My meat is 90% pasture raised in a lot of areas. There are no drugs or hormones or anything injected or fed to these animals. And I'm sorry, but if I've put 6, 8, 9 months into my animals, I want my animals back. I don't want Joe Blow's animals 3 doors down. And I really would like to be able to hire people that I know and I trust come in and kill my animals in a respectful, humane way, and have them where they are not stressed from the time they arrive on this farm or are born on this farm.